Hey, I think we live, baby. Check the metrics. Says we live. Receiving your content.
Oh, they're receiving my content.
Spicy Sundays.
Spicy Sundays is in effect. What's up, everybody? It's CMP with Craftmaster Productions and Studio1tutorials.com. Don't forget to stop by Studio One Tutorials. Pick up your premium membership. It's 50 cents a day. In the chat today, like every Sunday, we have MG the Future. Tell them what you're about.
Hey, it's MG the Future. You know what I'm about. MGthefuture.com. Check it out. But yeah, man, I'm just here to chop it up. You know, Spicy Sundays, trying to keep the tradition going. Let's get it.
Goddamn right. Oh, messing up monetization off a rip. So anyway, today we got some topics. It was a good week in the producer community. We had the Beat House or House of Beats premiere. J. Cole sent out his secret invitations to the A-list creators of the world. They're gonna make an album in 10 days. We also had some spicy tweets from Taz and them talking about it doesn't matter if you use loops, samples, steal other people's beats, as long as you get those tracks sold and on the radio. That's all we care about. I also want to go over some ideas about mixing plugins as they relate to producers, and the how the floodgates have really opened up for 90s sample flips. I know I've done content on that. I know you've done content on that. I know that people have definitely heard our content on that. But first I want to go into the main topic. Maybe not the main topic, but the hot button topic right now is the House of Beats. It's a really it's really cool to see a producer oriented reality show on the YouTube platform. It is first of all, it's really well produced. It was really nice to see something like that for the producer community made so well and brought in a way that I think that not only I don't think it'll just be relevant to producers. You know, I think it it has potential to bring the art form to kind of like a casual fan, you know, because production is a very niche thing because of the tools and experience that you need to do it well. How did you experience that part of it?
With the B House stuff, or just the concept?
Well, just the concept, the production, and the presentation, and we'll go into the bullet points as we march down.
Yeah, I remember speaking to them about doing it about a year and a half ago, a year ago. So I had a lot of input and ideas on how that would go or should go. You know, rent a house, put a bunch of producers in it, show them a bunch of stuff. And it seems like they kind of went the American Idol way with the execution, at least. And I think because of that format, that appeals, like you said, with way more people. And I experienced it through Instagram because I knew a few people were on it. So they'll post their segments.
Okay.
And then and Dirty Snare, salute to him. Then I had my brother Arson. He put me on the one joint towards the end. I think you say maybe the winner of that particular day or episode. Arson had questions about that. And what's crazy is his questions were mixing questions and plugging questions that kind of tie into our other topic. But yeah,
okay.
When I looked at it and I saw what everyone was doing, what I was impressed with is that all the participants were able to get a clip and put it on IG and bring in more people. I think that's the way content should really be done anyway. So that's pretty dope.
Yeah, that was that part of it was really done well. So when so obviously, you know, everybody, I don't know if your experience was like mine. I definitely got a lot of contact from, you know, different, when I was doing my live streams, people were asking me about it, people were hitting me up privately about it, what was my thoughts about it. And I don't really, you know, I'm anti, bro. So I don't like reality TV. You know, I'm not really interested in that shit. Like back when I used to rap, everybody wanted to ask me if I was following the white rapper show. I was like, bro,
y'all out of pocket.
Y'all gotta relax. You know, making of the band. I mean, when I was a teenager, that was a thing. I wasn't into that. So I wasn't particularly, at first I wasn't particularly excited about the concept because I was like, all right, whatever, play beats, do competitions. They better not have these guys like riding bikes and doing crazy shit. But I was definitely pleasantly surprised to see that it was a studio centric environment and it really focused on the music. However, I did experience a lot of confusion watching it, and it wasn't from the talent. The talent on that show is really good. They picked and curated some really great producers, and I think that it's really great that all of the, I want to just salute all those producers for taking, I don't know what it took for them to get to Texas and stay out there. I don't know how that situation worked, but I know not everybody can just pick up for weeks at a time and go and do that. So that was definitely inspiring to see a group of musicians take themselves seriously enough to go and take that jump and put that time in, because those are the kind of things that you really need to do in the music industry. You got to go out, shake hands, and make yourself known. So definitely a lot of respect to those gentlemen and those ladies who participated. Now, so the first competition was called It Factor. And when I experienced that, I was like, It Factor. I'm like, It Factor isn't really something that producers necessarily possess. That's usually something used to describe an artist, kind of the way that they can control the room, and that usually translates into star power, X Factor, those type of synonyms. So kind of what I had a problem following the show, and maybe I'm overanalyzing it, or maybe I'm dumb, or maybe it's a mix of both. But so in the beginning, is the parameters was the way that Jay Rhodes had laid it out was he was like, okay, the parameters of this contest, the It Factor contest, was if you had one beat that you had to play to save your life, what would it be? And then they cut and they go to the first contestant and he's playing his music, and then as they're setting it up, they're saying, oh, okay, so they're talking about the influences of the producer, and then they say, oh, okay, so this is the beat that represents you the most, which that was confusing, because those are, in my opinion, those are two different things. You know what I mean? The beat that represents you the most would be the beat that contains the culmination of your influences, and what you feel represents you as an artist. The beat that would necessarily save your life, that would kind of
be a battle beat.
It would be a battle beat. If to take it a step further, it would be something that I would need to know, like, who am I playing this beat for? Am I playing this beat for an artist, or am I playing this beat for a producer? Because those are two different sets of ears.
Yes.
I think my main criticism of what was going on in that show is I would wish that there would be either a rapper or a singer on the panel, because they do experience listening to beats very differently than we do. So as I went on, and this was more of my confusion as I went on, listening to the comments, and this might be just a consequence of editing. It might not be an oversight, so I don't want to sit here and say.
You trying to get executive producer credit?
I'm just saying, whenever you say something that isn't like overwhelmingly positive, people are gonna put hater on your back, and that's that's not what I'm here to do. But just my experience watching it, I wish that there was more consistency from the judges as for what they were looking for, because it seemed like in the order that they were doing it, like, for example, before, like, there was two producers. One producer came in and they played a really intense boom bap beat, cracking snare and everything. Different, it had a completely different sound stage. The way that it came across the speakers was completely different. The next contestant was more low key and laid back with it, but it was still a beautiful track. And it seemed like and I know it's a competition, but it seemed like the energy of the first beat was being compared to the energy of the second beat, with their criticism and their comments, but yet the parameters of the competition were initially
Was do you? Yeah.
pick the beat that represents you. So I just that kind of stuff confuses me and frustrates me, in the terms of watching a competition, because I just want to follow it. I want to know, what are we talking about, and how am I supposed to be experiencing this? Which is, once I got to the fourth one, I was just like, all right, I'm just gonna, this is, because competition shows, the talent is cool, but really it's all about the judges. You know what I mean?
I agree.
It's all about the judges. That's what makes a competition show, like, really, like, people didn't watch American Idol to watch all those people struggle. People watched American Idol to watch those people struggle and get stomped by Simon. You know what I mean? That's why they had that. Did you have a similar experience with kind of that part of the layout before we go into commenting on the actual producers and beats?
I would say, from what I gathered or perused through it, I think for people doing this for the first time in this format or being experimenting, I think maybe we might have way more experiences in setting the bar too high for it. So for me, it's free flowing. What is it? What are they on, episode 2 or 3? So I think they'll pick up the tick, or it'll get better over time. And like you said, I'm almost certain, with that much content I have to edit, a lot of this stuff is lost in editing, or the translation of these things. But I do feel the same way you feel. You can't have people come to stage and be like, yo, what best represents you? And then also play the hardest beat you've ever made, because they're usually not the same.
Yeah.
At least for me, my hardest beats, when I think of someone saying hardest beats, I'm thinking of drums and tempo and arrangement. And then when you say, what do you think about me and my influences, it might sound like an R&B beat. So my R&B beats will not be as hard as my hard beats. So I can't. I don't know anyone that does both, but we'll dive into it as you bring up the music part.
So yeah, going into that again, the musical, everybody was talented. Everybody played quality music. What I liked was they had they had females involved with it, and there is you. I hope it becomes more apparent, when you go and watch it. But feminine and male energy, they're completely different. And if you're an expressive musician, and you're not just working on trying to hack attention and trying to hack the marketplace, and that, and you're really creating from a self space, that energy is going to be different. And that was like one of the things that I was like, damn, dog, why are they going about it like this? Because one of the beat before the first, I should have did better research on their names, and I apologize for this, but in part one, the first dude who played the beat, it was super male energy, and then it switched to female energy, and the way they came at her was like, yo, it should have been a little harder, it should have more crack, snapple, pop on the that, and I was like, no, bro, she was bringing her authentic energy to this, bro. Like, y'all should have lit a candle or something, man. Like y'all need to, yeah, bro. Like y'all needed to relax on that, dude. Like, it's different vibes, but
yeah,
the big what I was really surprised with was and kind of disappointed with, but I always knew this about the urban producer community, is how sheltered they are from outside influences, especially from different genres, especially from European genres. So Igami, I hope I'm saying his name right. He was definitely the overwhelming favorite. If you see any of the the responses in the comments on Twitter. They did a poll. You know, he was the overwhelming favorite, the winner of the It Factor competition. And what everybody was saying about his about his track was how different and original it was. And that's and you know, we know how, if you're new here, maybe you don't, but we know we know MG has the you know, he's definitely a believer in the concept of originality. He's all about that. But as I was listening to his beat, you know, I was like, oh, okay, you know, buddy's smart. He know he's going into a room and maybe this is not how he's doing it, but I felt like, oh, okay, you know, I like the approach that he's taking, because he's in a room full of urban producers. They're drawing from either boom bap, or they're drawing from trap, and he's drawing from like festival trap, future bass, and those type of vibes. And you could see in his arrangements, he arranged it so he's got the switch ups every 4 to 8 bars. You know, it's either a drum change or a tonal change, and then what he did was that really got the attention of the judges. You could see it in the camera. I think it was like the last pattern that popped out. He did the stock dubstep trick where they take that last snare on the turnaround and move it from the 3 beat to the 4 beat when you're working in double time. And you see when that kick hit and then the snare hit where they weren't expecting it, that kind of made everybody like, yo, he put the snare on the 4, fam, face melt. And that's not to belittle or make light of that tactic. It's just that when you understand it, you experience it through a different lens. And I definitely recognized. I was like, you know what, that he can win the competition, because the whole discussion in hip hop beat making right now, MG. And I know
why are you trying to trigger me, fam? You trying to trigger me? Don't trigger me, fam. Don't do
the
that.
Whole discussion in hip hop beat making right now seems to be type beat versus, we'll call it. Listen, just so you don't lose your whole face.
My shit, I feel my blood pressure rising, bro. Don't do this to me, bro. Why you setting me up?
Because it's Spicy Sunday. Relax. So the whole conversation in hip hop beat making is between the type beat community, and we'll coin this term, okay? We'll call it PO, perceived originality.
Ooh.
Okay, perceived originality. We'll qualify it because we don't want to confuse anybody. So he definitely has a leg up on everybody because of the perceived originality. Now, we spoke on this before, and I just want to go over it for anybody that's new that maybe didn't see the discussion before. I triggered MG in a previous discussion where we were talking about originality. He has a perspective on it that's well documented. Y'all watch his streams. My understanding of what people consider to be perceived originality is when you draw from a set of influences that isn't necessarily popular within your genre. Okay, do you agree with that set of parameters?
Yeah.
So how did you experience the reaction to Igami's music?
I said, well, shit, if they wouldn't invite me to be on the show, I'd have played all my beats from 2010.
Meaning what?
Electro, dubstep, all that stuff. That's from 2010. Like the brother Keyflow that I talk to sometimes on Instagram lives, he does all that. He did all that. You know, I go ad hominem and ad nauseum about all the references I have of that kind of music. So when you were describing that going from double time to halftime, in your drum pattern, like I can't count how many beats that I have like that. You know what I mean? Like but it goes to your bigger point. If you're not well versed in the different styles of music that are happening, you would think that would be the first time you heard it, and I guess that's why you give a person originality points. But when I heard a few of these beats, I think it was on episode 2, I was like, oh, these are all Flume type beats, and people were like, who's Flume?
Yeah, there was some heavy Flume in there. There was some heavy Flume.
What are we talking about? Hold on, real quick. This is an example so people don't think I'm exaggerating. This is Flume. This is an album that came out a couple years ago. And every beat you're gonna hear these judges get excited about are from this album.
Yes.
So, for me, when I go, oh, the person winning is just remaking Flume beats, I get away. I get away about it. And that's why I don't want to go too heavy into it, because I don't want to disrespect nobody. I don't have a problem with Flume being their reference, Mr. Carmack being their reference. None of that. Quickly, none of that. I mean, but I know it's happening. And I think to the bigger point is when you do a show like that and you have judges that are not aware of that happening, because what happens is it makes the hip hop producers look bad. Because when you listen to boom bap, you go like, oh, Dirty Snare and those brothers, you know, that's kind of sounds like, because this is what happens when you're doing boom bap or something. When you think of hard boom bap or hard hip hop beats, you have to compare everybody in the room in that bag to Just Blaze or somebody.
Yeah.
And that is not fair.
Not fair.
Then you take the trap people and you got to take all of them. And you got to compare them to the music you're tired of hearing. That's not fair.
Also terribly not fair.
And then you get the other kids in there with the EDM and festival stuff. You don't have nothing to compare them to. So it's all breath of fresh air. That is really messed up for the audience, not the judges or the people in the room, but for the audience to go, yeah, man, this is the future. Because I had people hit me up. It was like, yo, bro, I never heard nothing like this before. It's like lo-fi and trap, high fidelity mixing. I was like, it's called trap, all capital letters. And I know almost every discussion I've had, I've said that. Yeah. I said trap has been gentrified in all caps. This is what I've been talking about.
You know what?
And this TV show is gentrifying it again. Oh my God!
Hold up. Let me stop you there, because you're right. This isn't about the individual artists. At like this point, I want to make this clear. They're all really talented, and they all do what they do well. But it's about the filtering of the styles, and you hit the nail on the head. See, being in Miami and being like outside in Miami in 2008, 2009, 2010, people have like if you see the urban idea of Miami is one thing. It's King of Diamonds, Tootsies, Rick Ross, trap music. But when you're really outside in Miami, all of the Flume, TNGNT, you know what I mean, Hudson Mohawk vibes, trap in capital letters. You got to remember, Miami is the home of Ultra Music Festival, which is the largest EDM festival in the United States, and that is that is for a reason, because all of those genres come together, and they're in our underground clubs. You know what I mean?
Shut that shit down.
Yeah. So me being outside and experiencing all that stuff, my perspective, when I come across a show like this, because we're down there, the fans of music, we're really well cultured. We don't have, we do have like the salty boom bap heads, but typically when you read it, when you get across a general music fan, they like everything. And they'll vibe to everything. I mean, you're talking about Cuban people, Puerto Rican people, Dominican people, Haitian people, who will be it at Spanish night one night, then we're at EDM night one night, then the club shuts down, so we're going to the strip club and it's all Rick Ross songs. You know what I mean? So that's our vibe. And I just want to make it clear again, that is my main gripe with the show, is what you said, is because there doesn't seem to be anybody on the panel, and maybe they do have the lexicon and they're just not flexing it yet, but because they're not, because it seems as though they don't have the lexicon to say, oh, okay, I see what you did, that's Flume type of vibes. You know what I mean? It then takes Buddy, who made the boom bap creators on that fucking show. The boom bap on that shit was masterful, bro. Yeah. Like, it was masterful. No, all right, I'm sorry. Yo, it fucking pissed me off. It really fucking pissed me off when they did the boom bap Buddy, and then he stopped playing his beat, and then they started fucking talking to him about transitions. Like, bro, what? Like, you want bro, you want him to step it up and make boom bap capital letters, bro? Like, no, this is this is boom bap, dog. They want
him to make boom trap,
dude. The most poignant criticism or compliment, I should say, that they gave to one of the producers. It was the dude I'm talking about who made the amazing boom bap track, and Buddy was like, yo, as soon as that beat came on, I wanted to rap. That's it. That's your fucking winner. That's your winner right there. Okay? Yeah. That's your winner, because that's what we're trying to do out here, fam. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make beats that an artist hears and he's like, I want to rap. Don't play me anything else. I want to rap. That's what we're actually trying to do. We're not out here producing for producer intellectuals who want to fucking dissect if you tuned your white noise correctly, so that you transitioned from the pre-hook to the hook, bro. And I'm a fucking beat nerd, dude. You know what I'm saying? I dig that shit. But if we're gonna do a producer show for the culture, do you know what I mean? And maybe that's on episode 2, episode 3. They'll bring a rapper in, and maybe they'll do it. So maybe I'm jumping off the deep end with that. But that's my honest perspective and how I experienced it, dude. I was disappointed by the judging. Not to say that Igami didn't have a fire flume track, but the lens, shit, I said that, but
I can tell you what project is on.
but bro, again, like MG said, it's not fair when you're putting it in front of an audience who isn't necessarily have the lexicon of flume and the European genres of electronic music, who they take the best parts of hip hop and American styles and then put their own spin on it. Then you have, then you bring it into an American environment, and our ignorant asses, because we don't fuck with anything outside the States, we hear it and we're like, wow, this is high art. I would have never thought to do that. When meanwhile, there's an entire fucking continent, you know what I'm saying? And the city at the bottom of the map that's like one of the most popular music cities has been on this shit. All right, I'm saying too much. Yeah. I think we drove that home.
Yeah, so I would like to see, it continue to grow and unfold, and people pay attention to that, and I'll be interesting to see who the winner is. I kind of feel like all this is pre-recorded, so they probably already know who the winner is.
Yeah.
But I think what's interesting is that if it ends up being him, I'm gonna be pissed off, because I am not doing future bass type sample packs.
What's crazy is the future bass sample packs have been out, bro. They've been out. Dude. They've been doing that since 2012, bro. 2012, that's all Capson was making all his fucking money on, was future bass.
Loop Masters made all their money on that. Sample Magic made all their money on that. Yeah.
Like that, like if we really want to talk about it in the terms of like, oh my god, I'm so shocked, this is so original. Like, just go on Splice and look at all the future bass packs. There's more of that than trap. Okay, right. So if we're talking about from the perspective of like what's original and you know what's brand new, how is this so groundbreaking when there's so much content for it? How are you overlooking that, bro? It's just as bad as me not knowing the names of the producers for you guys to not know the fucking music, man.
You know what's crazy? Every time I open up Serum on one of my tutorials, I go, this isn't made for us. This is made for future bass.
Yes.
Like, I have said it all the time.
Yes, you have.
Like, even Cymatics, they'll do a giveaway. All the cymatic serum packs, future bass, future bass. Like everything's a wobble, everything's a grime step, everything's future bass. Like serum is made by a future bass producer for future bass producers. In case any of you guys haven't known, didn't know, wondering how to get those little leads that go da, 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 and sustain, that's all serum patches.
Bro.
So when I heard it, I was like, we're not doing 2010 right now. Don't tell me that is the hottest thing in the room full of people you had. That's the only part that I just like, all right, let me just give it time because I don't want to be anti.
But yeah, no, but but you're right, dude. Like when speaking of cymatics, like when you look at because I bought a cymatics pack once, so now I'm on their email list for life, and they have very interesting emails. I like the way that they sell. So I read them, and you notice this year is the first year that they have tried to incorporate like hip hop. They've been making a killing off future bass and that whole type of vibe, bro. So again, if we're talking about like, it's like, bro, like you have to know, you gotta do better for the culture. Yeah. All of y'all. You have to.
No, you have to. No,
you have to. I'm gonna say it, you have to. That's on them. That's on them for that one. I want to talk about something else. So this week, if you follow any producer or music creator that is industry on your Instagram or Twitter timeline, you came across the Revenge of the Dreamers invitation, and everybody was flexing that they got invited to these mega sessions with J. Cole and pretty much everybody else who's talented, which first of all, I thought the idea of that was really great. You know, he's doing the Kanye in Hawaii.
Yeah.
You know, he's doing the Travis Astro World sessions. And this it was interesting because J. Cole appeals to purist culture, right?
Yeah. I would say that strongly. College and purist.
And purist culture has been hyper critical of collab culture, right? Right? It's been hyper critical of collab culture. Also, purist culture has been hyper critical of make the music fast culture. And here we have a culmination of collab culture intersecting with we're going to make an album in 10 days culture, intersecting with purist culture. And I just don't know how the purists out there are experiencing this with zero to little criticism. I wrote a tweet on my account that said, I wonder how you quality over quantity guys are going to experience this album that's being made in 10 days. And it was crazy because instantly there was a bunch of defense tweets, and one of them that stuck out was there was two of them that stuck out. One of them that stuck out was Cole already had them verses written. You know, he takes time to write his rhymes, which, you know, that's bullshit, bro. Cole's a real MC. He writes the beat. He writes the song when he hears the beat. And then the second one was sound quality isn't that important in the industry. And when you're an independent musician, you have to spend more time mixing your beats because you have to compete with sound quality in the industry.
That's not important.
Yeah. So the first thing I wanted to ask you about is how do you experience somebody of J. Cole's caliber going in and making a project within 10 days?
I was more impressed, or not impressed, but you know how you get that little, like in Metal Gear Solid, you get that little question mark when someone sees you. I got a little question mark on my ass, like, why is he in a room with this many people? Because, you know, J. Cole has said on record after record after record, he's too fly to be on other people's shit, or it's too fly for other people to be on his shit. This is completely anti that stance.
Well, this is the Dreamville collaboration album. It's not a. It's
those people getting invites aren't Dreamville though.
Oh no, yeah, facts. Go on. I'm sorry.
So what I'm saying is you're taking the light of Dreamville and you're sharing the light with other people from all around.
Right.
I'm not against it. I'm not anti. I'm just saying it's an interesting move from a person who goes, I don't need y'all. And then he's going, well, I'm going to lend myself to all of you now. You know, like the star being born, the star collapsing kind of thing.
You know what I think that's about?
I would love to hear that. Yeah.
Were you done? I'm sorry.
Okay.
What I think that's about is the thing about the way I experience J. Cole is I confuse a lot of people because I'm a lyrics first type of hip hop listener, which that already confuses people because I'm a producer, so they're like what? But second of all, like, okay, so I experience everything lyrics first. You have to be a lyricist for me to be impressed with your music. Cole is a top tier lyricist. But I don't vibe his music, and the reason why I don't vibe his music is because I feel like, especially his everything from Forest Hills Drive till now, it's like I want, and this is just me, I want a rapper who's that good. Like, bro, I need like 3 or 4 songs of you just letting everybody know that you're that much better than everybody and not apologizing for it. So I feel like I feel like Cole's music is very apologetic for his raw talent and natural skill, in that everything, like, I enjoy conceptual hip hop music too. It's actually my favorite. I love story raps. But it's like, bro, you're that good, bro. Just shit on everybody because in one hand you're making this this crazy conceptual music, like, I'd rather much hear the song about how you're better than every other rapper than how you lost your fucking virginity, guy. Don't care. I don't care, bro. Like, I would rather hear 3 verses of just amazing metaphors and similes than how Freddie Mac and like how Sally Mae is beating you up, bro. I don't care about your loan, bro. I don't care, bro. Like, the album that I want him to come out with one day is, and this will be a weird comparison, but maybe you'll understand it because you're a Rockefeller head. I want him to come out with In My Lifetime Volume 2. You know what I mean? Yeah. I want that, the Cole version of that. You know what I mean? If you remember, like, Reasonable Doubt was a concept album for all intents and purposes. Okay. In My Lifetime Volume 1, that was him trying to make the radio smashes. In My Lifetime Volume 2, he just went into my fuck you bag. He went at Mace's head. He did the posse cut with every awesome street rapper at the time. You know what I mean? He did the This Is My Little Homie song. But there was no girly songs. There was no You Must Love Me, like, look at my emotional life. It was just like, look at me, I'm Big J, I'm at the top of the city, nobody could touch me. And then that album and that energy is what nobody talked about. Jay-Z is in the breath of being the best rapper before he did that, before he brought that energy. And I see so many Cole fans, and I always have this debate with Cole fans. They're like, Cole deserves more credit. I'm like, dog, what the fuck you talking about, bro? Like, Cole sells out arenas by himself without openers, dude. Like, he has everything that a hip hop artist strives to attain for. But when I think about it, he doesn't have that thing that Jay had, right? Where people will say that he's the best. People will still put Drake above him. And Drake got ghostwriters, so I could see why people get so crazy about how people experience Cole. So that, without, and it's my opinion, like, in hip hop, without that energy, without bringing that energy to the table, no one's gonna call you the best rapper. And I also think that's the reason why nobody says Kendrick is the best rapper and nobody says Drake is the best rapper. Like, people will still give it to Jay and Wayne because they will easily and infinitely give you that energy.
I have a different hot take about J. Cole. Why people won't give him that easily.
What you got?
He picks struggle beats.
Yo, he definitely fucking picks shit beats, bro.
He's like the Nas of our generation when it comes to that.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's a big Nas fan, which is another which is another reason why I was excited to see the producers who were coming into the fold, bro. Because you know, Cole should get on a Take Keith beat and murder it. You know, because if you're looking, if you're looking at all these rappers who do get on the Take Keith beats, and everybody's experiencing them through this lens, like, oh my God, these guys are killing these beats. You know, put a real one on it, bro. Look at what happened when Royce got on that beat, got on a Take Keith beat. You know, that shit was different. It was different, and I think that there's still, and it's a really weird place, but there's still this perspective that if you're in double time and you have trap hi-hats, that you can't spit lyrics on it. You know, that it can't be lyrical. There's hip hop fans that feel like that, bro. Like,
all you gotta do is slow it down. You can slow it down and get away with it. That's what the lo-fi trap stuff is.
Yeah, you could slow it down, or you could speed it up.
Yeah, you get into the 80s, what Meek Mill did basically, but not do as many hi-hats, maybe. They know how to figure that out. These people are producers too. They know the science. They have to know the science. They get paid $1 million to know the science. So they got to know the science behind manipulating time and speed. I don't think it's that. I think it's the thing that we're talking about with perceived originality plagued him.
Yes.
I don't think that Cole couldn't make a trap beat because he's a producer too. I don't think that Cole didn't know what the dope plugins were, dope drum kits were. I don't think none of that. I think he just went so anti to set himself away from everybody. From the trap guys coming out, from Jay-Z himself. I think Cole just said, yo, this is my lane. This is my J. Cole style and sound. And I think the people that grew up through college and listened to that loved him for every other myriad of reasons. But the people who criticize him or can't get on that bandwagon yet are judging sound. And I'm one of those people. That's why I'm always offended that, like, he's always driving by. Like, I know, like, his energy's in the city. Like, he's always driving by, whether it's, you know, Briar Creek or Wake Forest. I know he's nearby. I was like, bro, if you don't fucking call me, not because I need anything, because I would love to have this conversation with that man and maybe help him unlock it and go, oh shit, I'm of course. So we're hoping this, you know, the Revenge of the Dreamers project is more of what I'm trying to say, but I don't think so. I think there's too many heads in the room. There's no Ryan Leslie there to tie it together.
Well, yeah. Yeah, see, when I go back, I want to kind of just, before we jump off this, I want to kind of flesh out the volume 2 metaphor. So the volume 2, all right, so volume 1, you know, Jay had his own sound. It was very particular. It was a vibe. Volume 2, he went and tried to do, like, basically he tried to make the album that Biggie would have made if he hadn't have passed away. That's what that was about. And then volume 2, he picked up Swizz Beatz for 3 tracks. Okay, and nobody had used him like that up until that point. This was pre Rough Riders Anthem. So that and when you do something like that, when you work with a new producer who's going, you know, who's about to be the sound, you know, and you find that and you get to step on that. Like, I would like to see him do something, you know, bring that, bring that I'm the best energy, you know, bring it on, bring it on a sound that isn't necessarily left field. Like, oh my God, this is so crazy, I pitched this snare down. You know, it's so original.
It's original.
Yeah, just bro, like, beat everybody at their own game. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, if J. Cole doesn't mess around and get better production, like, for real, like, not better production, because I don't want to say none of these producers are bad or anything, because I know everyone's capable of different things in context. But what I'm saying is, I just don't want J. Cole to get stuck in that Wale box.
What's the Wale box?
Wale picks all the left beats.
Oh. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Like Wale is disgruntled. He's like, yo, no one likes me, and then everyone likes me. I have the coolest fans. I don't have the coolest fans. Like, Wale's going back and forth, but he's consistently a very dope rapper.
Super dope.
So what is missing?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's the same. It's the same thing.
The production is that.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
When Wale, Rick Ross, and Meek Mill were on the same track together, oh, snap, Wale is MMG for real. Then Wale come back out with some some sleepyhead bars on, you know, this struggle Jake One beat. I wasn't feeling that. And Usher singing the hook in a different key than the sample. Like, we can't criticize that, right? Because we look like haters.
Yeah.
But we know better than that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't have given them that beat, and that's why I never get the placements, because I'm not sending them no struggle shit. Like, every placement I see from the lyricists in hip hop for the past decade have picked the shittiest production because they're so anti whatever trap or mainstream is. I'm like, bro, okay, I guess you're selling out tours, you know what you're doing. But damn it, if you had some dope production, if you had the 3 Swiss beats on these projects, and those were your singles, and those were the music videos, people could fall in love with that other shit on the stream service, fam.
Yep.
But when you put your best face forward, stop using these undercover brother beats, bro, because they ain't hitting on nothing. No one's deconstructing them. No one's asking them where they get the drums from. No one cares what preset it was. It's all whack. Like, not whack, but it's not. You by choosing this route, you make the other producers aren't really good sound better. Yeah. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. They need a hacker in the camp, bro. Yeah. That's what it is. They need a hacker in the camp. So the next thing I had was the idea of you know, all these collaborators are in the same room. I mean, they got Illmind put the loop on it in there. Take Keith is over there doing shit. You know, who knows what's doing. Who knows?
You a fool, bro. I caught you. I caught that shit. You are a fool, bro.
Who knows what's doing? Who knows who's doing what?
Nick Mirror snuck some nigga in there somewhere.
But I relate this back to a Taz Taylor tweet I seen, and it was, you know, it was a Taz-trum. He was letting everybody know that it doesn't matter if you use loops, guitars, real instruments, you know, drums that you made yourself. You know, if you steal the beat and put your name on it, you know,
young chop the beat.
Yeah. If you young chop the beat from Vibes, you know, none of that matters. The only thing that matters is, do you get it placed and do you get it put out, and does the end user like it? At the end of the day. So that is, you know, as the premier contributor to our community, and as the person who's done the most for the producer community in the history of producers, we definitely have to comment on that. I understand the sentiment that he's going after, because I believe in the same thing. I believe he's trying to tell his tribe, like, listen guys, you know, don't I'm gonna give you a peek behind the curtain. There is no wizard. No one on this side of the game cares if you program the melody or not. Can you put it together, and can you deliver it? And that is what I've always espoused, is the difference between a beat maker and a producer. Okay, so a beat maker is gonna sit here and they're gonna make the beat. They're gonna make everything in the beat. Yeah. And they're going to consider themselves superior to somebody who didn't make every part of the beat, to their detriment. And a producer, what a producer is going to do is, a producer is going to pull together all of their resources to deliver the best product possible, to in turn create the best product possible. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't think that's I like that, but I don't group it with beatmaker versus producer, because I think that's a different ego and money conversation too.
Okay.
So maybe it's yeah, we can say it's a branch of it, but with him, with Mr. Taz Taylor, who's done the most for the producer community on YouTube and the world, I think what he's saying is, guys, don't worry about us stealing percents from our sample packs, from you using them. Just go ahead and use them and keep buying them and supporting them. And if you make a hit, you have a hit. That's all that matters. But we just want our 50% or more.
Spice.
I think first things first. Everything's mass through the business. You can't get over on me. Like, bro, you still trying to push wave supply, and you still trying to push this policy, and people have been grilling them for the past months. He went on a little depression hiatus to find his rebound chick, and then he comes back like we forgot. No, we ain't forget.
He's
talking
forget.
about that. It is fueled from that. Second, though, all these pseudo wokeisms is coming from these people trying to be like our our Asian brother out there in Cali, Kato. Kato's been on this real positivity kick. Like, I think Kato saw what Illmind was trying to do, and Kato energy matches what he's saying. And then we see Cody doing it. And then, of course, the brother Curtis King, he's been doing it. So I think that energy, I think because internet money has inherited so much negative energy, they're trying to flip it, and that's why it looks strange. They're trying to change the polarity of their message, and it has to come off like that. But for people who've witnessed and documented these happenings, and even us right now saying it, it's like, yo, everyone's trying to do a polarity switch. And that was the point I was making about Cole. Like, all the time he was rapping about how he don't need people, he don't like y'all, blah, 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 blah. Now he's in a room full of y'all. He was talking about y'all in that room. First of all,
he was talking about everybody in that room. He was talking about everybody in that room, but now he's in the sandbox with him.
So now he's on a polarity switch. So what I think has happened, everyone got really emotional and depressed and very low frequency because Donald Trump became president. I can map everything to presidents. There's the same thing with, like, you know, the LGBT and all that stuff. We can map that to Obama, and then when Obama became president, Lady Gaga and Katy Perry were talking about.
Okay, so we got low energy because of Trump.
So, but once people got used to that, they realized it's self-destruction. You got to change that. You got to become more positive to overcome it. You can't fight evil with evil or negative with negative.
You got to go high when they go low.
You got to go high. You got to go higher. So I think this year, 2019, you're going to see a lot of the positive energy start to swell. So let's tie that back into the Beat House. Well, the swelling of positive energy is an EDM festival. Why do you think that kid is winning?
Oh,
everyone is going the fucking positive energy route. I'm not against it. I'm just saying, like I'm just tuning.
Nah, you're hacking it right now. You're hacking it right now, bro.
Yeah, so this is cool. This is really cool.
Yeah, in case y'all don't know, like view us through the right lens. That's what we do, bro. The brother MG and myself, we are hackers. We break this shit down. So that's really cool. How do you feel about, you know, about a polarity switch towards more positive language, towards more positive public language, we'll say?
I think we're going to see more Ty Lopez ads.
More Ty Lopez ads and more Ty Lopez.
I think that positive energy, even in mentoring or even in tutoring, it does work if the environment and the frequency you're in matches that. You don't want to be super duper positive on a person in the hood.
No.
If that doesn't work.
No.
When a person's in the hood, you got to be like, yo, you're messing up. You're not doing well with your money. You're hanging out with knuckleheads. You are in control of this situation. I need you to pick yourself up and get out of here, get a job, move as soon as possible. Don't trick off on this tax return and go invest in a vehicle and get yourself out of the hood first. You can't go, anything is possible if you just dream it and write it down and take note. You can't do that to the same person. So the context of positivity and energy has to be environment appropriate. In the music industry, through every Hail Mary they could last year on streaming. I mean, Will.i.am and the Black Eyed Peas dropped an album and no one cared. Hilarious.
Yo, Eminem, a dope album too, bro. I listen to that shit. That shit's amazing.
The mix on that, if you want to talk about mixing, that's
I'm not even talking about mixing the songs, bro. That shit is hard, bro.
It's hard because they mix boom bap in modern time. Don't do that. But anyway, so but even like Eminem and stuff, like the most exciting thing about that album was the Machine Kelly diss back and forth, and that lasted 3 days. Like, they threw everything out there, and everything they threw out there was fairly negative. Same thing with 21 Savage. He came out, shoot, kill, bomb, dead, my homies. Then he switched his polarity at the end of last year, right?
Yeah, he did.
People were confused.
But also the sentiment is like, wow, you really grew, bro. This is probably one of the best projects you've ever put out. You're a better rapper now.
All of a sudden.
Interesting.
Lil Uzi Vert can't worship the devil in this climate, fam.
Interesting.
You can't.
We're gonna have to revisit that soon. The next thing I wanted to go into was the 90s sample flips, man. This is something that I've been talking about. I seen this coming. This is something I've been talking about since 2016. Trying to really make a trend amongst my subscribers and the people on studio1tutorials.com, and just show them like look bro, because I recognize the same thing that you recognize, and that's the cycles of trends, and how how fashion, it's everything: fashion, home design, architecture, and you know, and music will move in a 10-year cycle. And these 10-year cycles, what they do is they draw on from a decade that is typically either 20 or 30 years behind them. So I mean, like in the 90's, all of the girls, they dressed in 70s shit. You know what I mean? Like, all the girls wore bell bottoms, but nobody called them bell bottoms. But they all wore bell bottoms, and the shoes that they were wearing and stuff. I remember it clicked for me when one of our teachers showed us a picture of when she was a kid, and she was wearing like the same exact outfit that the girls were wearing in class. And that's when I had this moment. I was like, I wonder if it's always like this. So that was something I've always been aware of. When I was sitting back and I was realizing, and I was wanting to get more into sampling, you know, especially with Serato and everything, I was, you know, I was sitting there and I was thinking to myself, I was like, okay, you know, the big sample era in the 90's, when, especially when it got super crossover and commercial, came when Puff Daddy was just taking the loops and you know, and looping, you know, the first 2 or 4 bars of a classic song that was this amazing big hit, and then he would take the hook from another, you know, classic big radio song and mash them together. That was his formula. You know, you take I'm Coming Out and then the different sample, right? So I remember during that time he was on MTV, sitting on the couch, and they were talking about his style, and he was saying that the way that he came up with it was he was just inspired by the music that was being played in his home while he was a child. So I thought about, like, what was the music that was in my home that was being played while I was a child, and the music that was being played in my home when I was a child was 90s hip hop. You know, it was Wu-Tang, Dr. Dre, you know, the whole deal. So I was like, okay, if that's the cycle, you know what I mean, let me take it. So we don't have Al Green to sample. We don't have you know, all of those amazing musical references. What we have is 90s hip hop. So I was like, dude, this is gonna happen. This is gonna be a thing. Like, whenever I feel that energy, it's not something that's native to me. Other people who are tuned in, you know, tuned in to, and tapped in like I am, they'll get it too. And I try to tell people. So it was fun watching it manifest, like through the Khaled album, Nas album done, when they flipped Fuji La, and then on 444 Jay-Z flipped Fuji La again. You know, and then you hear the you know, the original sample flip of X Factor, you know, that just came out of nowhere, by Murder Beats.
Came out of nowhere.
It came out of nowhere.
There were no tutorials like that on one of these channels.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. He did that. And then Meek Mill's album, and there's a few more on different albums. It started to happen a lot though, and then it came to it came to a head on Meek Mill's album, where he did all my favorite Jay-Z and Biggie songs on there. He did Getaway, which I always loved the Getaway beat, but I hated during that time. You remember during that time it was the talk to the sample time where Diplomats did Oh Boy, and then everybody had to, if there was a vocal sample, everybody had to rap to the sample. I hated that flow. And I was like, man, that sample's so sick. I wish somebody would redo it. And then Meek made an amazing song, like, just like, you know, it's the street conscious hip hop, which is my favorite stuff. Do you think going forward that it is wise for producers in our tribe to pick up on that trend and really try to incorporate some of that into their catalog?
I mean, you've heard me talk about this before, but I guess for the people who watch this for the first time, I'd be like, why not? And what are we doing? I know one of my favorite pastimes back when the internet was a little bit more free, people would put up like the best of Kanye West samples. People still kind of do it, but it's harder to find because of all the DMCA stuff. But back in the day, you could download 100 samples that Dipset flipped, and it'll be called that. And it would be, what was interesting back then when these were coming out, it'd be whack to flip it after the fact. and then Kanye, and then Just Blaze. Like you can get collections of just the samples that they've used up to a certain time period, and I sit there and marinate, and that's how I kind of develop my internal synonym. I can go, oh, Just Blaze favors these, Knife Wonder favored these, and it's some strange web in my mind. I'll make all the connections I need to make to identify samples when I hear them. So we were on a, like, someone blocked us from being great and using it in real time, and now that people are older and old heads are old heads and people are disgruntled, the younger kids go, we don't care about your rules, you don't care about us, we're going to do it anyway. And that permission switch, I think is really awesome, that no one cares now.
So are you saying that the permission switch has been flipped?
Absolutely. Once Meek Mill, Rock Nation, and Young Guru give it the cosign, not overtly but covertly say, hey, this is how we giving it up, and look how everyone responded. Once that occurred, it was like, oh, it's basically what we've been saying for the past 2 years. Like, yeah, this is coming. I mean, not for nothing, Drake was doing it with the R&B samples from the 90s. You know, yeah. He had Aaliyah up in there and SWV up in there, low key in the background. So it's more of an overt way of going, remember all those folders we used to download and we just sat there and listened to it like idiots in a playlist? It's okay to sample it now. Yeah, because the Serato sample, now we have Serato sample too, which gives us the pitch. It's easier to even flip it now. It's like, it's crazy. Everything has a, you know, an intersection or crossroads.
Yeah, that's the big thing for me, is just expressing, like, the permission switch has been flipped, because that was one of the things. It was never okay to sample hip hop songs. Like, it was like that was not all right. There was a time in the early 90s where everybody would flip each other's samples, and that was a normal thing. And then they kind of backed away from it, and it was like, nah, don't take my sample. Kind of like, I think RZA was like the first person like coming at people about that. But yeah, man, it's definitely a trend for you guys who are wanting to try to go after placements, or just to get rappers on your stuff. Just, bro, like, stop fucking off, bro. Go to the old playlist, go to whosampled.com, find that original sample, set your BPM to 172 to 180, use an 808 bass line, and hit them with the
808.
Yes, and then hit them with the snare pattern, the cat, hit them with that snare pattern, and that's it, bro. And hit those flips, and you're gonna get some beats to some rappers, bro, because that is, I foresee that for at least the next 4 to 5 years, like all of those songs are gonna come back around, all of them.
It's because the tribe is so deep. Like, even like if you like niched, like with the tools we have now, fam, like if I don't know, Kanye samples are kind of weird. Like, they're not always great. It's just the way he does it is great. But like, let's say if you had 100 Kanye samples from his discography, you on Who Sampled in Wikipedia, you find all the sources, and you make this playlist on YouTube or Tidal or Spotify or something, right? You can then take that and then do the little weird suggestion metrics or the Pandora type stuff, and find a whole bunch more. And all those whole bunch mores, I'm pretty sure Just Blaze and Kanye also flipped those, but they just never seen the light of day. So I'm very interested in seeing how much we can find or stumble across with the new tools that would be the same exact thing, but the things that were unheard, and how those conversations are going to go in a few years, when Just Blaze was like, he's going to be in a beat battle playing all the time, all the shit that he flipped 20 years ago, right? That's going to be the new thing. That's going to be the new old head argument. Oh, y'all youngins don't know about that. I flipped that 20 years, 5 years ago. And then the other part is, I believe you had touched on, like, the ability to do that without samples, you know, just going to Splice and finding replacements. Like, that's like, you know, like they have that meme of the brain being activated and a little activated and then wide awake.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's definitely it.
Yeah.
The last thing I wanted to touch on, it was a tweet from Dope Snare. He was asking about how do you or do I see so much made of the UAD plugins. I use mostly Wave stuff. Do I need to get UAD plugins to mix my beats? And that kind of triggered me, because with all these new plugins that come out, there isn't people forget context, right? So there was a time when these Waves plugins that you guys think are trash now, you had to have them to produce serious music. They were the only thing, and they made hits. Those Waves plugins were the plugins that mixed the records that sold 10 million physical copies. You know what I mean? They made those Waves plugins made the smashes, right? And now people look at them and they're like, oh no, I can't use Waves. I need something better. And it's not like the plugins got worse. Okay. We have more options now. How do you experience somebody asking a question like that? Do you think that's what they're asking, or do you think there's something else behind it?
It's always something else behind it. But on the first level, I just agree with you. Yeah, Waves has been always the gold standard for plugins. I mean, I think they're one of the first, right? And then Dave Pensado, would he mix Ice Cube We Be Clubbing, you know, the Players Club soundtrack with it? Like all that in the box mix from Waves and Pro Tools is that is the marker for that. But today, when you see people debate plugins, vendors, types, and DSPs, they're not looking for quality of plugins, fam. They're looking for vindication. They're looking for, like, am I serious enough, or do people perceive that I'm serious enough as a producer or engineer even? Because you got to think about so here's the psychology of Waves. There's mad people that come to me talking about how dope a new Waves plugin is that never bought it. They just download the cracks or whatever, right?
Right.
So if you're perceived original or perceived working hard, you do not want to be lumped into that psychologically. And I don't think people think people give credit to your mind's ability to want to be different, aka creative. So I think a lot of people who are trying to be serious are trying to separate themselves from everyone else, and they don't know how. So when I see questions like Waves versus UAD, I think the real question is, you know, is it time for me to invest this kind of money into myself? And will people take me serious if I do that? Because there's no confusion about CLA from Waves and the CLA version that's in the or the LA2A version in UAD. I've had both. Like, you really don't hear a big difference. Let's relax, everybody.
Yeah.
But the question wasn't about that. The question's about UAD and what that means, and that, you know, you see your favorite guys on Instagram using Apollos, and everyone's buying a twin now. And then people going, yo, I'm saving up for an Arrow now because that's going to get me into there. People don't give a damn about those plugins. These people got 300 Waves plugins and they don't know how to use them. So how are you ready for a proprietary format? It's not about the plugins or the mixing. It's about the steps of becoming serious, I think.
I think I agree with you, because when I think about it through that lens, back when you couldn't get a hold of Waves for less than $3,000 for the bundles.
Horizon, yeah.
That's what people were paying for. I mean, you go to a studio, they got that Horizon box on display. Like, yo, we bought the box of this. Here's the CDs. But now that if you wait, you can get an L2 for $29.99. People will ask, is it that good? Like, is it that good? It's the goddamn L2. What do you mean is it that good, bro? It's the fucking L2. I mean, what are we talking about here? So yeah, that's interesting. I definitely agree with that. Do you
think going to UAD is the more serious route?
No, bro. I don't agree with that at all, bro. I think the thing with UAD, it's the same thing that happened in the studios with the Avalon. Do you know the Avalon story?
No.
Okay, so check it out. This is how the Avalon became everybody's favorite preamp in urban music production. The Avalon used to be shipped, it was manufactured with a more dull face, and it had purple knobs. Okay, can you picture what an Avalon looks like in your head now with the shiny knobs? So they weren't selling them. So one of the people who work for the company is like, yo, we should use silver knobs and sell it as something that makes platinum records. You know what I'm saying? And make the face look silver. You know. So what they did was they redesigned it. It's the same thing, and then they sold it to hip hop studios because hip hop people like shiny shit. You know. And it was it's deep, bro. And it was all platinum. And they went around. They sold it to everybody, and everybody was just like, this is I can only make music with the Avalon. And to this day, that Avalon, if you take a rapper who knows anything about a preamp, and you know, when they go pay for studio time, they won't go to a studio that maybe uses a UA 610, you know, but they want you to use the UA interface, because the UA interface has been branded as the tool for, you know, hip hop producers and studios for getting the super clean sound. Now, the company that makes the hardware, we don't want their actual preamp, because that's rock and roll. We want the platinum knobs on the 737 because this is hip hop. You know, this is how we get the shiny Rick Ross vocals. Yeah, whenever I go into interface shit, I always nerd out and go into like Gear Sluts and check out the blind tests, and they're never testing interfaces up against Apollos. They're testing them up against Apogees.
Fact.
But nobody wants to buy an Apogee. You know what I mean? Like hip hop creators, just our whole culture. It is such an overly overt manipulation of our consumer instincts that we get exploited into believing that these certain products are what we need to accomplish our goals at the highest level, and most times it's just a marketing jokes, bro.
It is a marketing jokes. We all know that, especially because you can order those little Chinese and Russian tubes on eBay for $30 and put it into an art channel strip, which is like $250, and it has the same tubes in it. You can order the actual Avalon tube for $30 on eBay and put it into these art channel strips and have the same fucking thing. That I always knew, but I didn't know that was the story. I didn't know it came out like that. That's wild. But one thing what you said about them manipulating hip hop that way, what's interesting about that is, because this goes back into the originality conversation. You'll look at all your producers who talk about, you know, it doesn't matter what you use, or all your engineers who tell you, you know, to find your own sound, but they'll fucking sit there and have the same Mac, same interface, same hardware channel strips, same master bus processor, the same essentials.
Yes.
And don't even know about all this other crazy shit that's out here. Nope. So how is this an originality Ponzi scheme? Like, everyone's full of shit, fam. Like, for my answer for about the Apollo thing, like, if you're working with real people, buy one. Because if it's a marketing jux, put your own juxtaposition on that bullshit. Like, yeah, I have an Apollo here. I'm charging $50 an hour to record. Relax.
Yeah, no, that is, you're right about that. And I would also say that if you are if you're a mobile musician and you collaborate a lot, I would say get yourself a Duo or an Arrow, because when you're in person, this shouldn't matter, but when you're in person, what you take out of your bag matters. It definitely matters. If I go into a studio with the PreSonus mobile, nobody's gonna want to plug into my rig. Nobody. You know, even though there's nothing wrong with it, it has more headroom than the Apollo. The converters match up with the Apogee. The converters in this have beaten the Apogee in blind tests, but nobody cares or knows about that. All they know is UAD Apollo is what hip hop producers take to the studio when they go to smoke blunts and make beats on a gaming computer on a SSL console.
Bro, that bypasses the console. On top of that, fam, I want to one day. I want to buy an old SSL board that's like dead, like it's just the chassis. I want to buy the damn chassis and make that my desk. This is gonna be my desk. It's not gonna be a mixing thing. I just need to sit there with the pictures like that, holding a pocket operator. Like, yeah, I'm shitting on you. Come to my Instagram.
That would be amazing, bro.
A lot of people do that, man. You'd be surprised.
Nah, I wouldn't be surprised. Everybody's fake, bro. What do you got anything else on the docket, man? We pretty much burned through it. This was a pretty spicy Sunday, bro.
What's interesting is that YouTube did not promote us for the first 30 minutes. So we actually just got started after the Beat House conversation.
Really?
Yeah, people didn't come into the chat until 30 minutes in, and then my YouTube viewers was only 2 viewers for the first half hour.
That's pretty wild.
Everybody's here now, but I guess the only other thing, what did we? I don't think we skipped a beat on anything. I think the main core message of this whole thing is how, like, you know, people are getting tired of the games, of the language that surrounds creativity, art, and then of course music business. And I think that's the line in the sand. Music business is way different than what your passion and, you know, what your hobby is. So I would keep that in mind and divvy up these ideas. It ain't for everybody. I'm not saying everybody just buy an Apollo because people are going to take you serious. No, that's not what I said. What I said was, when you invest in yourself and you have the investing question because you're doing business, well, yeah, if a rapper comes into my room for the first time and they see this little 2 preamp red Focusrite whatever, they're not going to know what the hell that is. And then when I ask them, like, based on my skill level, I charge this much for mixing and mastering, because they don't see the thing holding the plugins, because they don't see the extra 8 inputs that I'm never going to use in this capacity. They don't think I deserve that. You know how they say the first impression is the best impression?
Yep.
This the only advantage these hardware companies have. Like, when you pull this bitch up instead of a Machine Micro, way different impression. Way different impression. Though functionally, you can say they're comparable. Same thing with this little ass Akai Mini. I can keep that there and put pictures on Instagram, or I can take pictures of the Triton. What do you think is going to get the most comments? Like, come on now. It's really, really simple. And the thing is, do you want to waste money throwing at people's vanity? Or do you know how to marry it in the middle and go, all right, these are the essentials for the 2020s. This is what people expect me to have. Here's my little saucy secret shit. Because you know the sauce and secret shit that Just Blaze and all of them have is just essentially the shit that they researched online that we're using.
Yep.
So you see what I'm saying? Like, you gotta learn how to understand and marry those two worlds to be an effective business person. And yo, people are vain. Artists are vain. People who write songs talking about themselves are the vainest. Why are we confused by this?
Facts, bro. Well, with that said, I am CMP with Craftmaster Productions, Studio1Tutorials.com. You guys keep it simple, but do not be basic, and we will see you on the next one.
Hey, MGTheFuture.com. You know what I'm about. Peace.